right, guys, here we are to talk about the movie Tremors 5.
What up?
So have you seen the first 4 Tremors?
Okay, here's the thing. I've seen Tremors 1, definitely. Love that movie.
Sure.
Probably one of my favorites of that like type or era or whatever.
Okay.
Really big fan of Tremors. I love people on roofs like scuttling around. You got the Kevin Bacon. Why you just starve to death up there? What's going on? The way it unfolds or whatever. It's great. I'm sure I've seen Tremors 2 because I remember Burt Ward.
Tremors
coming
2
back.
is just Burt Ward and it's
no, Fred Ward. All right,
Fred Ward. Wait,
the guy. Fuck.
not Gummer.
Right. Burt Gummer is the character's name.
Yes.
I think Fred Ward might be the name of the guy who's not Kevin Bacon that was in the pickup truck.
I'm so bad with their names.
Right.
But yes,
so,
he returns. He's in Mexico,
Yeah.
and this is the first time they fight the next evolution.
little dudes. Yeah.
And I forget what they're called.
Oh, I knew. Shriekers.
Shriekers.
Yeah.
The Shriekers fight.
Yeah.
The third one.
So I think that is where the series and I parted ways. I'm not sure because I don't know anything about ass blasters.
Third one is Ass Blasters.
Okay.
Fourth one is a prequel. It is the first Tremors, and it has Burt and a couple other characters playing their like great grandfathers.
God damn.
And I actually enjoyed that one.
Was it good?
Quite a bit. It's hokey and jokey and whatever. But you're back to fighting just the original Graboids.
That's cool.
And it's in like the Old West.
Yeah.
And now we are in the 5th. It is well, actually between the 4th and the 5th, there was also the TV show that was on Sci-Fi that also had Burt Gummer.
So I looked up Burt because every time we do this, I forget that he's a Family Ties.
Yeah,
guy.
Family Ties.
He looks so different as Burt
Alex
to
P.
me.
Keaton, biatch.
Yeah.
Well, he has no hair in this, and he had hair then.
And he dyes the mustache. He has a big dyed mustache, right? So he looks very different to me. So I, like once once I am reminded of his identity, I can't not see that anymore, and it's wonderful. But yeah, on his IMDb page, because in my head I'm like, who does play Burt? Has Burt been in all of these? Oh my God,
a lot.
This guy's whole career was just playing Burt, I think. And then I scroll through and I'm like, oh yeah, he's okay, fine. So he was TV, and then he went and did. So he's been just slopping up all the roles he can get, all the appearances.
I think he has a lot of fun with this character.
I'm sure he does. Oh my God, it looks like he's having a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's rare for a man that goes from being a family TV star to be like, I'm gonna play with guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
I'm the guy who
an action star now.
Yeah. I'm the guy who loves guns. Yeah. Guns are my favorite thing.
Yeah, I enjoy his character. I think he's funny. I like how he drops like do not inspect my cranium or whatever he says. I thought was a great line.
No, he is the best part of all this.
Yes.
I still like him. Him and Reba McEntire. Reba
was in the first.
McEntire?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought I had her last name wrong. Them shooting at the thing, and then it's like the practical effect coming through the wall and the miniatures and all the different stuff they do in that. Like, that stuff's great.
The first one done very well.
I didn't know I'd have to shoot through dirt and all that stuff. It's kind of useless. Like, all that stuff. Like, the first one's just a gem. Just a bunch of people on rocks driving the big caterpillar around. Like, that's wonderful. That's amazing. But here we are at number 5.
At stage 5, we got Jamie Kennedy joining the crew. And I like Jamie Kennedy on paper.
Things that are not this?
In a lot of things, I like him. As he's getting older, he's not as funny and quippy. I think the last things I really enjoyed him with, he had a thing with him and Stu Stone where they were trying to be rappers.
Son of the Mask.
No.
Was he even in that, or is that somebody else?
Son of the Mask was him.
Okay.
Yes, as Stanley Ipkiss. But Scream, I thought he was really good in. Scream 1 and 2.
He's in Scream?
Yeah.
So,
there are rules to surviving a horror movie.
Oh, he's that guy. All right.
And then he's in the second one if you're seeing this tape, I died. Here are the rules for a sequel.
I have not seen Jamie Kennedy much, except for those things that I didn't even know was him. And my impression of him is he is trash. Because I've only seen
He's in a lot of B things.
B comedies, though, right?
B comedies. He was in one recently I watched was The Sand or the Beach or whatever, where the actual sand has some sort of organism in it that's like eating people.
Yeah.
And after a drunken party, all these people are just above the sand. Like some are sitting in a convertible, some are in a guard tower for the lifeguards, and he plays a cop.
Okay.
And he's a B guy. He dropped a couple funny lines, but generally he's over the top and it's like a ham part.
I remember Son of the Mask, and then whatever the one is where he's B-Rad.
Oh, that's
and the funniest thing about that
one has some funny moments. That's Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah. So I don't know if I ever even watched that, maybe in the video store, but I just remember walking away from it, and again, this could be totally unfair, thinking, well, the funniest thing about that is that he called himself B-Rad instead of Brad or whatever. That's like amazing. But anyway, so I was like, Jamie Kennedy, question mark, motorcycle montage. He's the new cameraman. Like, that was my,
Yeah,
like, that's my
I have a pet
appearance of
peeve
them.
about anything when someone puts on a helmet and then someone who's obviously not them does something.
Yes.
Because, like, it didn't look like him at all.
That was what happened to me. I was like, was that Jamie Kennedy? I have to wait for this stuntman to take his helmet off in this other shot to figure out if that was Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
And it was. That was crazy.
Yeah, that wasn't. And that played a part later when he gets back on his bike and does some fancy
So
stuff.
many things were called in response to. Okay. I think this is a bad movie. I don't know if you enjoyed this movie. How do you feel about this movie?
I enjoyed it from almost a nostalgia and, like, bring back
Yeah.
the characters moment. But it wasn't super good. But it wasn't the worst. I'm a
sure it was
much
not the
bigger
worst
fan of
of
sci-fi
bad things,
originals
right?
than you,
Yes, I know.
and this felt fine in that kind
Yeah.
of environment. I liked seeing the new version of the Tremors, like the African version.
Yeah.
I always think it's weird when I'm like, and why didn't we see them ever before? Like,
I know.
It wasn't like somebody was bombing and like it disturbed
So-
them. They just like happened to walk upon them and see them.
And like Tremors, like now that you see, and we'll talk about something else in a second too. Like now that you see the whole life cycle of the Tremors,
Yeah.
the Tremors make no sense or whatever. Like after, well, maybe the movies have let it unfold in real time.
What do
or
you
something
mean
like
don't
that.
make sense?
Like the fact that there were ever Tremors means that there were always also Shriekers and Ass Blasters. So it isn't like you ever would have only fought Tremors, except in the first movie when they woke them up and they were just Tremors
Yes.
first, right?
Yes.
So
Well, then you
that's
have.
why I said like I think the movies followed the life cycle in order as if this was happening in like real time.
Well,
or
then they
whatever.
had a thing where they killed off the second stage, and they were still fighting a Graboid because they were fighting a white Graboid because it was an albino, and like they make some reference, like I think the Indian guy on the thing is like he's like, we once had an albino mule or horse or something. He's like, it was sterile, and the bird's like, we're under the impression that this might be sterile, and it never went to stage 2. So like they still
was that
had
in the prequel or which one was that in?
I think that was in part 3.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, which I could be. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was
isn't
like
like-
a large
also-
like white whale.
It's like cicadas or whatever, right? It's like they're all on like a different schedule maybe,
Yeah.
but there's certain like whatever like
Sure.
I'm not saying that you should always only have one of those 3 things or all of them all the time.
No, I
Like,
get what you're
I could
saying.
see that
I
it's
get what you're
emotions or
saying.
whatever. But the idea what I like about this, Bert 100%. I love the fake reality show, Bert, all that stuff, great. The whole life cycle stuff, the sci-fi stuff, seeing through its infrared vision stuff, the whole like it's trying to protect its eggs, like all that stuff's great or whatever. I just think like as a movie this was not good. Like there's a lot of editing and acting and like writing choices that I just thought were like
Yeah.
and like this is a thing where as a kid I would have picked out those cool parts, left them in my brain, never watched the movie again and been like that was cool and just like forgotten about it.
Sure.
Right? But as an adult, I'm just like, I can't spend this long while doing this. This is a waste of time.
This had the most B elements of the 5.
Really?
If I have a pretty decent memory for these kind
Yeah.
of things, and there were more moments where I was like that felt cheaper than other things.
Like literal shortcuts and like
Yeah.
weird choices. And I honestly feel like there's stuff that they could have like fixed without even needing money or like talent or whatever. It was very, very strange to me.
I liked evolution being different on this path of the Graboids.
Yeah.
They look slightly different. They're faster. They're skinnier. They're longer. The mouth tendrily things can come out.
I know, it's just so weird.
I thought that was interesting. I don't know how that would
No.
work, but I liked it.
No, but that's what you want to do. That's like good. On the IMDb page, it says there's something where like they're in the Arctic or something like that.
That's
too.
Tremors 6.
That's 6. Oh god,
Yeah.
we already have a 6. So yeah, so like
6 just came out a few months ago, actually.
Oh, okay. So we're doing a timely tentpole thing.
Yeah.
Here. No, I like that's what you'd want to do with Tremors. You'd want to find different locations and like, well, on Australia they were isolated, so that's why they're different here. Like you can just keep doing that if you want, right? And that's
Yeah.
cool. That's fine. I have no problem with any of that part or whatever. Yeah.
But it wasn't the worst, and I enjoyed like for what it is. Again, it's just a vehicle to let me see this character more, and that's fine. That's kind of like how I would like a show to go on after it stops being good, just because I want more of that character.
You just want more time with Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah,
I feel
that applies actually
Literally.
perfectly. Where I'm like, that last season was garbage, but I wanted a little more, and I got a little more. I got what I wanted. It was watered down. It wasn't as long as the other seasons, but I'm okay with it.
I know.
And this is kind of that.
Yeah.
The sixth one looks a little better than this one.
Oh, yeah?
Then there's supposed to be a Kevin Bacon one coming out again, and I don't know if Ward is returning, but that one's still on IMDb as like a made-for-TV movie. I think it's gonna be right to Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, I think number 6 says video next to it or whatever.
Yeah.
So the next one after that would still be.
But I had thought, and I don't know if this movie is like the pilot for, but when I heard Kevin Bacon talking, it seemed like he was bringing back a TV series that there was a lot of money involved into it, and that he wanted to be a part of again. And I was like, oh, that sounds very good.
I think a TV series might, serve this material better, honestly.
The TV show. Did you watch the TV show?
I didn't even know that it existed until the other night.
So the TV show was like, they live there, and the government's trying to like take down, like they take their land.
Was it Imperfection or was
it was Imperfection?
Oh, great.
And like only a few of them like are allowed to live there. They have their whatevers, and there was something like some sort of chemical got like it was like spilled or something, and there's other types of creatures and things happening, and like they're trying to stop them and kill them and do this and that. There was fun things.
There's stuff you could do with that because the concept here is great, right? Well, and even so, in the first movie, that town of like this like crazy, impossibly small town, right? That's what it's centered on. It felt so different and alien to like everything else, right? And everything gets some iconic pogo stick stuff happening. But you could do a lot with like this is like a prehistoric missing thing that was like awoken, and you could learn more things about it as they've been doing, right? I think of all of the crappy things, Tremors is probably super high up the list, right?
Sure.
Because like you've really like. and they use the fake reality show, the survivalist show, to like show you animatics of like the life cycle and all that stuff, which is a great trick, which is awesome for them to do that. So like that's why certain stuff was so awesome. I thought that certain other things, I'm like, damn guys, don't send like the guys who are doing the good stuff home when you're doing like scenes of the movie. But I would have liked them to lean more into that, like fake reality show stuff. That stuff was awesome. But like for them to get so detailed into the life cycle and to have this make sense, to have the creatures like they were prehistoric creatures that were like woken up in like now or something like that, and then like earlier in like the canon they attack engines because they're hot, or they mistake this for that, or like this confuses them. But then the ones that survive should like learn and get better and like learn more about life and all
Nothing
that stuff,
ever really
right?
survives, though, in quotes.
Yeah, I know.
So there's not much to be learned. I love Tremors 3, I believe it was, starts off with Bert doing another one of those, like he's talking to the news, and like they're filming him at night, and like it's like a bunch of shriekers. He goes, all right, the shriekers are going to come over this hill. And like, they have like the night vision goggles, and you can see the heat of the shriekers. Yeah. And there's just like a wall of them, like hundreds of them, like you're in Starship Troopers. And he's just like, all right, and he like pulls a thing off, and he's like in the back of his truck, and there's like this mounted gun. It's like, all right, and that is how we take care of an infestation.
Yeah. That's
he's
okay.
He's a fun character.
Everything about that's okay. Him in the cage and all that stuff was like that's the kind of bad, fun, whatever that I'm totally fine with. That's awesome, right?
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
No, that was fine. Him freaking out,
the lion
his piss.
Yeah, the lion pissing directly, into his mouth and all that stuff. And then Jamie Kennedy dragging in the cage. That felt like earnest movie like quality.
Yeah, a little bit.
I was like, yes, this is the kind of schlock, whatever. Whosever words we want to borrow, dumb stuff, schlock, fun, bad, whatever, but good stuff. Other stuff though, and like we're not going to talk too in depth, I think, about the plot of the movie unless you have stuff you want to bring up.
Do I have any things that I want to bring up? Not really.
So I thought that just to get this out of the way, so I thought that the end of the movie was indicative of like the problems with the movie to me.
Where it was just like a like, okay, and it's over. Like, we're gonna shock the ground. We know lightning storms happen. This is Back to the Future.
So like, okay, that was very sci-fi movie originals type stuff to me, where they're all shooting it with like shotguns and bows and arrows, but then it explodes for no reason or whatever. Like, but I can live with that. That's fine. I mean, the very like right before the epilogue,
okay,
where he's like, hey, hey, so you take care or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, what happened to building the Gummer brand, right? Like the emotionally
Yes.
distant father thing. That's good, right? And then he says, you don't need fixin', Pop, and then walks off camera, right? Then they dub in an extra line. Someone went in and said, the movie's not funny enough. This doesn't make sense. The audience is stupid, or this is wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
They dub in the line, come on, we got to catch a gremlin in Fresno, right?
Yeah.
While they're hanging on Bert, which should just be this silent moment, and then him saying, Pops, or whatever, right? It's like the scene should have been, you don't need fixin', Pops, and him being like, Pops, and then ending, right? That's, we have this rapport now. It's like it's like Indiana Jones and his dad and all that stuff. Oh, it's great. But they had to dub in Gremlin in Fresno, right? Which like you shoved it in later off camera. It sounds like now we have to get a Gremlin in Fresno. Like it doesn't even sound right from like a technical perspective. Also, Gremlins in Fresno was just you trying to gas more money out of that South African dude. You're not really going to go to Fresno.
Well,
to get
I didn't take it as
right?
a serious thing. I took it as a joke.
I know.
Yeah.
No, it is a like joke or whatever, but like that choice of that scene to not let it be what I assume it was like originally filmed and like written as or whatever, to be like, we gotta spice this stuff up, we're gonna make all this, we gotta have more stuff happen here or whatever, I think was like what like ruined parts of it for me. That like that mentality.
Even him being his dad, I was like, ugh, it's such a like.
So,
of course.
Back to my notes from like 3 pages ago of like, hey, Jamie Kennedy is the new cameraman. My next note is he calls him Pops, and then, I guess he's going to be his dad, Florida 74, right? Like,
yeah.
And again, maybe this movie's made for children or like people with learning disabilities, but like to have him call him Pops right next to the line in the established, like you have to space that out. You have to make something, right?
It felt.
Because they had all these opportunities to have all that dialogue. They're on a helicopter. They're on the other thing together.
How'd you like that guy in the helicopter?
Helicopter Man is my new hero.
He was pretty good.
The poor man's John Voight.
Not since the great Ed X. Young have I had a character.
No, he was wonderful, actually. Like, that's, again, like, there's certain stuff in here that I think is, like, good bad, and then there's stuff that I think is, like, bad, which makes me, like, sad. I don't know. Whatever.
I think it was the level of, like, tropes that were just shoved into this one. We're like, and the guy that hires you is a bad guy. Ha-ha! Like,
well, and, like, so... Even that could be okay. Because
you gotta do a Jurassic Parky thing where we're gonna collect the eggs and take them off the island.
Well, I have a whole section about things that they ripped off literally from other movies, which could this got dangerously close to like this is a lovingly self-aware, schlocky, fun movie. But I thought like technically it fell short in enough places that it like let me down on that. front, right? So we had first of all, never touch me. Second of all, never touch me. Right, which they just used in Pacific Rim a few years ago, but is an old thing that people do. And like Bert delivering that, it felt I'm like, what are you doing or whatever. There's a kitchen scene where they show its feet and like the reflection of the stuff, literally trying to evoke Jurassic Park, while you have CG in 2018 that doesn't look as good as Jurassic Park CD from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're gonna invoke Jurassic Park on me with the kids hiding.
And there are homages, and like you can say, I was doing this for that. It wasn't me ripping it off. But I don't. If you don't do things well, or like
no, but you can. You just have to shove in more stuff, and you can. Hey, feel free. You can totally have that, right?
Like if he would have took the spoon,
like take it further, then, right? Without doing copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Either have more references, or like extend that reference, or have a character comment on it, or something like that. Not literally in that case, but so he says, "Come to Africa, have a few laughs, see a few things," and I'm like, "What is this a YouTube channel? What are we watching here?"
I run the line though, where like those are things that like we do with our friends in the world too. So I'm like, is it weird seeing it in a movie? Because a person does this in real life, so why am I saying it's weird when I see someone do it in a movie? But I do have a feeling, like it makes me go like,
Do you mean the people who made the movie or the characters in
both,
the movie?
Both.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you're writing something from a standpoint of a character. All right, well, what would I say here? That. Yeah. And then that character's saying that, and you're like, well, I think it was a little bit better when Bruce did it.
Well, no, like that's the whole thing is you have to establish, not literally for me, but like what exists in your universe, right? A lot of movies, a lot of comedies have like maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday for the rest of your life, right? Because that's like a dumb thing to reference and have a funny thing in your movie or whatever, right? But some of the stuff doesn't feel. The last one, he says, "You are one ugly bitch," right? So
Yeah.
a monster that sees in heat vision. We have the hero, before something blows up, he says, "You're one ugly," instead of MFer, he says bitch or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, great, or something like that. And I'm not saying that they're like guilty of ripping these things off. I'm just saying it's like taking it even further to like rub me the wrong way, where it's like a third of your movie, like your premise is like pretty great. A third of your movie is like well executed. I think you have a bunch of funny stuff and a bunch of interesting things, and then you're like the rest of it's like weird off-camera deaths in like the middle of broad daylight for no reason. Like, why put that in there?
Like
weird. When that couple died behind like the curtain or whatever,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you had a curtain you could have splashed blood on. You have full control over like when you film this scene. The thing is supposed to be nocturnal at that point still.
Yeah.
So why would you have it be in like full sunlight and then choose to show them from like the shoulders up only because you don't have the money to show the scene? Why do that? Like, things like that bother me a lot.
The African hunter guy. That is in the opening scene.
I'm the mean guy. Yeah.
He just seemed like his character changed how he would act in situations scene by scene.
Exactly.
And I was a little happy when he died from a thing landing on him.
Yeah, and it was like, you can't kill me. This is Africa. And then just like bites on him and dies. No, I know. Yeah.
Ultimately, I walked away with like a mediocre vibe. I was like,
gonna say,
like a 5 out of 10.
Okay, good. So I'm not like being the one who's too picky or something. Like, this
well,
is like not a great.
If there were no other Tremors movies, I'm not even sure if I would be higher or lower.
Oh, interesting.
Because having that there are other ones that I think are much better. Like Tremors 1 is like is a high score for me.
Yeah.
Even honestly, 2 and 3 are decent.
No,
I think I like 3 more than I like 2.
I haven't
and
seen 3.
4, I think is just a funny movie. It's like a comedy.
Yeah.
There's a portion of the thing where he's like a rich man coming into this poor town, and it's like, like I'm in my suit, and he's like I would like a blah blah. He's like, we don't have the ingredients to make that. He's like, well, what do you have? All right, make me a cake. And he's like, it's like the last of their supplies. They make this rich man who's gonna try to save the town. He's putting up money to hire gunslingers to kill this Graboid thing, and they make him a cake. And like this young little boy is like, boy, fetch my blah blah, and I'll give you this last piece of ginger cake. And the boy comes back, and like just before he comes back, he eats the piece of cake. And he's like, you said that's a life lesson. I was like, and like I laughed because you fucked this little boy, and it makes me. I also feel really bad though because I'm like, you gotta think, living in like the Wild West, a piece of cake. How often did you ever have a piece of cake?
No,
and he was gonna have one, and he's like,
that's extremely cruel.
You get nothing?
Yes. You get nothing? Give me the thing I told you to get me.
Yeah.
Yes. No, and like that's one of the ways to save this type of stuff, right? I don't nitpick with things like that if the movie's funny enough, or if it's whatever. And some of that bird stuff's good enough that I'm not going to be like, why is a 60-year-old man the guy? And like, I don't care about it. Like, no, I believe all that's totally
he's
fine.
He's the only one who's ever hunted these things.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's I have zero problems that I would consider super nitpicks. I just wish this was more technically well done or something. Because then I could be like, oh man, Tremors, it's dumb, but it's knocking it out of the park, right?
Sure.
Because there's certain movies or certain things like that where you can like them, but you have to qualify it like, hey man, it's awful. This, like Resident Evil or one of those bad movies, I'd be like, do you like bad movies? You're going to love this. This, I might be like, I don't know if you need to watch this. Do you want to see Bert more? You can see some Bert. It
was cool to see a Tremor, though, that like could burrow through rock, and like it's an upgrade. I like that. There are legs for that. I think that it was like a little rushed and cheaply made, though, and that was its downfall. I think you had a premise here that could have been really good. I don't know how long they had to film this or how many people they had or like, what the actual budget was. But certain things I was like, well, that cost money. Like, and you had that.
No, but like, so exactly. They were like saving their CG for these parts at the end with like more motorcycle stunts and like everything. And you're just like, I don't know if that was the right decision or something like that. Like at the end of the day, you're making a movie. It is what it is. It's like good or it's bad. It's money or it's talent or it's time or whatever it is. But that's why we're here, to be like, listen, it's not like, oh man, this might be better than Tremors 1. It's like, no, it's not. It's not better than Tremors 1.
No.
It's another sci-fi-ish entry right into the series. We'll see how Tremors 6 does.
Yeah. All right, guys. So like that was our thoughts on Tremors 5. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time with potentially Tremors 6.
Hello, internets. I just love watching Just Daggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
If you want to support the show, head over to cannibalvideo.com, pick up some merch.
And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button.
That's alright.
Yeah, that's something.
Whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.